You are a break DPS. You are a break DPS. Everyone is a break DPS today. Hey, Kelba here with a guide on our brand new Trailblazer. Except for that info, I will not be spoiling any story today, and this guide will be a day late to avoid spoiling most people who missed the livestream. Animations will be shown, so if you want to avoid them, leave ASAP. Anyway, today we are looking at a completely game-changing unit, and not just in strength, but in versatility. They open team building options, they change builds completely, and they change how you play the game. This Trailblazer is insane, and I'm really excited for the community to get to play them. So we'll look at everything they do, as always, explain all the technicalities and their best builds, and finish with synergies that I loved. This was all tested on the creator server, but they are out right now for you to play and test. So like and sub if you want to become a break DPS yourself, and let's begin. The Harmony Trailblazer's elemental type is imaginary because hats don't exist in the real world. Among base stats, they have one of the highest defense in the game, but also the lowest attack in the game, which is fine. The HP is decent and the speed is really nice, though they do have a high energy cost of 140. You want to invest into their talent and ultimate, with skill and basic being unnecessary as it is just attack scaling. You wouldn't build Crit Harmony MC, right? Their basic attack is nothing special as usual, but the skill, Half Time to Make It Rain, is a bounce skill, hitting one target and then a random enemy 4 times. It does 30 toughness on the initial hit and then 15 per bounce as far as I could test. Like Aster, Sampo, and Welt, Harmony MC has an Eidolon later on that gives more bounces to this skill. This means more energy and more toughness damage. The talent will regenerate energy for the Trailblazer whenever any enemy is weakness broken, up to 11 with E6 talent level 12. This is an insane amount of energy, especially when considering high break scenarios like Pure Fiction. And the technique gives a 2-turn 30% break effect buff to all allies when entering battle. You can see where this is going, and now it's time for the real spicy stuff, the ultimate. All Out Footlight Parade is a beautiful little clocky dance, and it will grant all allies the backup dancer effect for 3 turns. This is an aura buff and will decrease duration at the start of the Trailblazer's turns. Allies with this first get a 30% break effect buff, but that is nothing compared to the real effect. When allies with backup dancer attack enemies that are broken, the toughness reduction of the attack will be converted into 1 instance of super break damage. To say I do 30 toughness, that is what we use to calculate super break damage. If Ruame gives me 50% weakness break efficiency, I now calculate with 45. High toughness damage units that can also attack frequently can abuse this a lot, and it even works into AoE. So if you hit 5 broken enemies, yes, you are doing 5 instances of super break. You can also do super break on the same action as you break, as any extra toughness damage that goes past the remaining toughness needed to break will still count towards super break damage. So how much damage is super break? First, let's check out the formula. After a lot of testing, the formula for super break should be the following. The base break damage, which is used for normal breaks, multiplied by the toughness damage divided by 30, multiplied by 1 plus break effect, just like normal breaks, and then multiplied finally by 1 plus Harmony Trailblazer's passive increase that we'll see in just a bit. And then enemy modifiers like Death, Res, Vulnerability, and of course the Broken multiplier all boost this damage. As we can see, we have no extra elemental multipliers like break damage, so despite imaginary break being completely terrible damage-wise, it is now just as strong as any other element for super break. It also isn't based on enemy toughness bars, unlike normal break, so you can do terrible break damage to a small weak enemy, but super break will not care and will still do maximal damage. For some reference numbers, Shui does 120 toughness on her ultimate. With 200% break effect, of which you can get 100% for Harmony MC alone, you get an additional 38k damage on a single target. When considering Ruame with ult up and a talent proc with Shui on top, you could hit an additional 98k damage. And since Harmony MC is buffing your break effect by a ton, and we'll see the full total later, any sustains or supports can now be a mini DPS, just like Robin has done at the same time. Especially someone like Gallagher that already builds break and has high toughness damage, who will now be sustaining and pumping out damage. You don't even need to match elements provided you break the enemy with your main carry. Super break is amazing and exciting, and I really love this mechanic. It removes the backloadedness of break DPS and fixes one major problem: when you do break, how do you do damage afterwards? So with that out of the way, let's check out the traces. The first is that super break damage increase as the A2 passive. Depending on the enemies on the field, your super break gets a damage buff multiplicative to the other multipliers. It is weakest at 5 or more enemies, which is suspicious wording, and strongest versus 1 enemy. making single target bosses much easier to deal with. So if I'm versus one enemy, we input 1.6 to our previous formula. The A4 increases the first instance of toughness they do on their skill by 100%. Since the first hit is 30, this is now 60, for a total of 120 toughness damage. Remember how good toughness damage is for Super Break? Well, Harmony MC packs a very big punch by having this skill. Finally, enemies that are broken get an additional 30% delay, which is incredibly strong for survivability and lets you get even more Super Breaks in on enemies. Ruan Mei has a similar effect, so you can really see the break synergy coming into play. The trace bonuses are 37.3% break effect, which is perfect, and then damage percent and F-res, which are kinda useless for them. Remember, damage percent doesn't boost break damage. Now onto Eidolons, because we will get all of them eventually, and they are very strong, especially E6. I don't know how many Eidolons we'll get in 2.2, I think we'll get up to 4, but if we don't get E6 until 2.3, then you'll see another big improvement from Harmony MC's 2.2 performance. So the E1 gives a free SP return on the very first skill, which is perfect for entering combat and getting things started. You will want a skill to get your ultimate up immediately. E2 gives a 3-turn 25% energy regen buff to Harmony MC upon the start of a battle. This is stronger than even an energy rope combined with an energy planar, and this will see you getting that first turn ultimate very easily, especially at E6. It also helps a bunch for that second rotation because it is 3 turns long. E4 is incredible, giving a 15% break effect conversion to all allies based on Harmony MC stats. So say you have 200% break effect on them, which is very easy, that's a permanent team-wide 30% break effect. I've even got boosts of up to 50% break effect to my team. And finally, E6 gives 2 additional hits on the skill. This is 30 more toughness damage, which is incredible for Super Break, and 12 more energy, which is incredible for that high energy cost. It is also some extra attack scaling, but we ignore that. So our skill now hits for 150 toughness damage, so every turn you get an insane Super Break, hitting broken enemies of course. With additional efficiency buffs, we get some crazy multipliers for our formula. Expect to see over 100k Super Break damage from Harm only MC at E6 with Ruan Mei. Let's talk builds. For relic sets, it's always going to be Watchmaker. This set is designed for them, so I hope you've farmed a bunch of Pioneer and kept those good supportive Watchmaker pieces. On top of more break effect for them, ulting now gives even more break effect to the team, giving at least a 100% break effect buff when considering E4, max investment, and this Watchmaker set. From 0 to 100% break effect, that is like doubling your break damage. If you farmed Pioneer at all it takes is some pieces with speed and break effect. As always though, other options exist even if it's a big drop in buffs. The 4-piece is just fine too, the energy doesn't come into play that much but the break effect is there. 2 Thief, 2 Watchmaker works just the same, and then swapping a set for Hackspace also works since they like speed anyway. There's also the option of 2-turn ulting with E6, Eagle set, and Memories S5 that loses a lot of SP versus the original user of this tech, Ella, who instead advances herself forward to generate more SP for the team. If you want Harmony MC to be an imaginary break DPS, you could try this set. For planar ornaments, definitely opt for Talia if you have it, though you can farm until you get a tank main stat orb and then just synthesize either an energy or break rope depending on rotations we'll see later. Bonwhacker and Pentaconi work for the energy if needed too, and otherwise your common supportive ones work just fine too, being Fleet and Keel. The main stats go for HP or Def Chest, Speed Boots, HP or Def Orb, and Energy or Break Rope. They do not scale fantastically with crit or attack, and break is their priority, so being tanky makes your sustain's job a little easier. Remember, as always, damage percent orb does not boost break damage. For the rope, it's dependent on what you need, and I'll explain exactly what rope you need in just a bit in the rotation section. For a stat goal, aim for at least 200% break effect and a decent amount of speed. In combat with all the buffs, you can expect over 300% break effect. A good first breakpoint for speed is 134, another can be 160 if you're balling in speed substats, but it's not necessary. When running Talia, aim especially for at least 145 speed. And remember, Ruan Mei is a very core synergy and she gives a permanent 10% speed boost when using her. Before light cones, we will actually look at rotations since your choice changes your rope and we might as well get that main stat out of the way. We will look at E6 and pre-E6 as they are drastically different in energy. We will also consider the first ult and the second ult as they are affected by 25% energy regen. Trailblazer can skill if they need to gain much more energy, and you can change your rotation whenever you need to. Considering Ruan Mei and a Gallagher, you have a ton of SP anyway. Also, since you break a ton in Pure Fiction, these breakpoints won't come into play much, if at all there. At E4, which is what I think we have until 2.3, with an energy rope and memories S5, to get your ult in that very first skill, you need 1 break. Your next ult would only need 1 break as well. Without memories on a no energy percent cone like Dance, you need 2 breaks on additional basic skill. Your next ult would need many breaks or you to go SP negative, which is fine in some break teams. But you can see the struggle at E4, especially without memories. If considering Ruame's signature's wave-based energy, just add this 10 energy, which can help reduce rotations. At E6, which we will eventually reach and where your Harmony MC becomes huge like Doctor, you get your first ultimate on memories with just 1 break, with your second ult being achieved with just 1 break too. But at E6, this is achieved with a break rope instead of an energy rope like E4, which is massive damage and buffs. You can even 2-turn ult if you want to turn your Harmony MC into a Harm MC, imaginary break DPS. Back to the non-memory cogs cones, and you only need 1 break for the first ult now, and only 1 for the second, or you can use a skill instead of a basic. So your energy is much more reliable, and you can even go break rope on a non-energy cone if you are skill spamming. So for light cones, you would go break rope with memories or cogs, and energy rope with other light cones. Some can still use break rope if you're scaling and breaking enough too, for example in Pure Fiction. Regardless of the cone, I think you would want an energy rope until E6, and at E6 you would then choose depending on your situation, with break rope being best. Break rope plus memories is a very strong build. You maximize energy, damage, and team buffs. The best cones outside of memories and cogs would be Ruame's signature and Dance Dance Dance. Ruame's cone gives free SP every ult to help with SP negativity, damage percent for the team, which isn't big for a break DPS but nice for hybrid DPS, a ton of break effect for Harmony MC, and some energy for the team. It's an all-around banger light cone. Dance 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 is for specific min-max rotations that would see you gain more actions in a certain amount of cycles. It could also give your team more actions before an enemy regains their toughness. Combining these 2 benefits and this cone gives you a lot more clearing comfort and potential super break actions. I don't find any big benefit with other cones. Bronya's cone isn't beating a memories or cogs in energy, and the damage boosting ones are all useless for break damage unless you're running a hybrid crit break DPS with them. But I still prefer the other cones to these regardless. The new Trailblazer gives you a brand new mechanic that changes break DPS forever. It is unique to them as of now, so anytime you want super break, you'd have Harmony MC by your side. They are free, and so are all of their Eidolons, which is amazing for free-to-play players. They enhance break DPS, which are free-to-play friendly too, and they do a lot of damage themselves. Their energy generation at E6 is immense, and they can have permanent uptime on their incredible break boosting buffs. They also synergize very well with Ruame, a universal support everyone already loves, and Gallagher, a 4-star healer. Making break meta again also means old units like Su Sheng can shine once again. They're like Pure Fiction as a character, reviving these fallen units. Let me know below what you plan to do with Harmony MC. Anyway, let's finish with synergies. Ruame has to be stated first. Her 50% break efficiency was decent before for faster breaks, but didn't exactly always scale to more damage, and was mostly quality of life. With Super Break, it's just a straight up 1.5 times boost to all your Super Break damage. Weakness break efficiency is multiplicative to toughness reduction by the way, so 100% toughness reduction and 50% efficiency is not a 2.5 times boost to toughness damage, but rather a 2.25 times boost. Ruame has break effect on top, speed buffs for more super breaks and Telia conditions, more delay on breaking weakness on top, and SP positivity on top. She doesn't do much super break damage, but it's better than most Harmony units, and her own break damage will scale very well with the MC's big buffs. Ruame and Harmony MC are now the core for every break team. You can use other Harmonies like a Bronya Robin combo if you have the SP, but there's no doubt that this specific duo is the easiest and most accessible duo whilst being insanely strong. Gallagher as a sustain builds into break effect, which is nice, and the MC will max out his conversion for healing boost to help out your sustain. With the MC's trace delays on top, Gallagher's sustain should have 0 problems, meaning he can spam basics and be the most SP positive sustain in the game, allowing the MC to perma-skill if wanted. Gallagher's toughness damage is immense too, with his own break efficiency at E6. He is the best sustain for break teams, and that break damage vulnerability is the cherry on top. Other sustains are fine to use, of course, they just don't synergize as immensely. Now for break DPS we have a few OGs. Wei Yi is one that will double dip in MC benefits, with her break and kit damage scaling from those massive break buffs. She would do amazing kit damage, amazing break damage, and amazing super break damage all in one. She has very high toughness damage on ult, lots of bonus talent actions, and is just an incredible unit with Ruomei and the MC. Sushong and Luca are our physical break DPS, and Boothill soon looks to be another. They are single target DPS and can thus shred toughness damage whilst converting to a lot of super break damage. Luca can detonate bleeds and buff super break and break damage even more, but Sushong's speed, advance forward, self break buff, and 100% advance on ult means she can proc super break many times. Zaval can opt for a hybrid crit break build with her infinite shock extension, and super break caters to that playstyle even more. She can generate her ult very fast for tons of additional instances of damage. She's very explosive in this playstyle. No one else traditionally builds for break, but what's magical about Harmony MC is they can make anyone do decently with break if you really want to have fun. 240 toughness damage on Lunay Enhanced Basic level 3, that's now 360 with Ruomei, and a whole lot of super break damage. Should you build it instead of crit? No, probably not, but the option is there for fun. Himiko doing AoE breaks and follow up that proc super break just after? Why not? For Pure Fiction, it could see a lot of potential. I'm excited to see what you all do, so let me know what your plans are below. Like and sub if you enjoyed this video. Let's break 90k subs soon. Thank you to all my amazing YouTube members. Thanks for watching and have a good day.